Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Welcome to the third edition of Killzone, baby. Welcome in, welcome in. I'm your host, KillJoy Jake, joined by the absolutely wonderful and beautiful man that is the Nightwatch Zone. What's up, my dude?
What's up, man? What can I say after that type of introduction? I mean, seriously, man. I mean, like, putting all the ice cream in the bowl right there.
That's the only kind of introduction I can possibly give you, though. See, that's the thing. When you're just coming out here with looks that kill like that, I don't. What else am I gonna say, man?
Ooh, good one. I see what you did there.
Looks that kill in the zone, baby.
In the zone. God. You know, some people, if they really sit back and think, they're probably like, these guys are such nerds. What are we going to do with them? Seriously.
Yeah. At least our name's clever, though. You know, it's so clever and thoughtful. Who else could have thought of that?
Yeah, man. When you said it, I was just like, okay, wait a minute. Jake's a really clever guy. You're like one of the smartest content creators I know. But I was like, man, this is definitely even a level ahead for him. This is great. You know?
Oh man, I was totally being sarcastic there, but I appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey. It worked, man.
Well, thank you so much. Well, welcome to the Kill Zone, everybody. So glad you guys are here. It's a ton of fun doing these streams with my good friend Mr. Nightwatch Zone. Let's see who's hanging out with us tonight. We got Ben Urban saying, I'm about to watch The Strangers Chapter 2, but I plan to chime in with my out of theater reaction. Ben, that would be awesome. We're gonna wait for you to see the movie and let us know. We're gonna wait. So if you don't come back, we'll just be live.
All seriousness, though, Ben is the type of person, he will let people know. Because, like, there's times I'll get a message from him or something like that, and he'll be like, yeah, I just saw such and such. This is what I thought, and boom, 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 boom. And I'm like, oh, okay. I always say to myself, man, you should have a channel, bro. You know? He's so passionate about movies. He really is. So shout out to you, Ben.
That's wonderful, dude. Well, I hope you enjoy it more than, you know, me and Knight are probably gonna feel about it. So, but we'll hear later. This is gonna be a fun thing to come back to later on in the stream. That's gonna be great. Paula Fitzhenry is hanging out with us too. What's up, Paula? Welcome in. Thank you for being a channel member. What's up? What's up? Tyler saying happy belated brother, hoping all is well. Stabby, stabby, stabby. I love that. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. We had a very fun birthday stream yesterday, so I really hope you guys dug it. As you can see, there's still decorations on the set that I just don't feel like cleaning up. But Knight, I figured we have It Welcome to Derry on the horizon. I might as well keep the balloons, right? It's kind of fitting.
See, that's what I'm saying. You're thinking on multiple levels, man. You're getting ready for some Pennywise time, man. By the way, I'm really excited to see what they're gonna come up with for this show. You know, because it's like, man, there's so much that you can do. You know, if they're creative enough, if they've got enough money to work with. So I'm actually pretty excited for it.
They got Bill back. That gives me a lot of faith. You know what I mean? If they were like, oh, you know, we're telling the other stories of Pennywise, but we couldn't get Bill, I would have been totally like, nah, I don't know. But he talked in an interview about how, you know, the script impressed him and he was excited to come back and return to, I mean, what is his most iconic character? I don't think he would come back if it was anything lesser than the other two movies. So I'm hoping it's good. I can't wait for it.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fun.
Absolutely. I mean, it could definitely be. Look, we've seen this happen before with different shows that really strengthen, you know, the movies. Whether it's the Penguin for Batman, Bates Motel obviously did some great stuff for Psycho. I mean, so there's a lot of different possibilities for this to really enrich the whole universe of it, and I'm all for it, man.
It is also kind of cool that you know, it went from book to TV to movies, and now we're back to TV.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I didn't even think about it like that, but it's done everything. Now we need an It album. And we need It on Broadway.
Yes.
Yeah, and then, you know, It on the PS5, you know.
If that doesn't strengthen the franchise, all these different things, I don't know what will. I mean, come on now. I love that, though. No, that's great. A few more people I want to say hi to. We got Jason saying, don't care about the Strangers franchise. I've been in a rut as of late and just want to hang and talk some horror movies with some cool peeps. Well, I'll tell you what, we will be, you know, casually crapping upon the Strangers and talking about our expectations for the flick, but we're open to talking about anything. Knight and I are excited about a ton of new movies and TV shows coming up here, so
Oh
Lots
yeah,
of good stuff. Have you been watching Alien Earth, by the way?
bro. Listen, I know you're gonna get ready to throw a sock at me, and I deserve it, but I have not started it yet. But let me explain.
Yeah.
Let me explain. First of all, my brother Killian, he's given me the green light on it because he loves it, and me and him, I mean, our taste in movies and stuff is so similar, and we grew up on Alien.
Yeah.
That's one of our favorite franchises. So he already gave me the green light, so I know I'm gonna watch it. I just trying to get enough time, bro, because time is such an important and seemingly small commodity in my life. But but yeah, I'm ready to queue it up. I'm hoping maybe even by, if not this weekend, the next week. So, but I've heard great things.
I have not finished it yet, but I believe I'm 6 episodes in, and I think it just concluded this week.
Okay.
Dude, what I'll say, man, is I'm really loving it. I think there's an argument to say that this is a better storyline than even Alien Romulus that just came out.
Ooh.
But it is a swing for the fences. I mean, it is ambitious. It is not the story you would ever expect to see in this franchise. And there's parts of it that I don't know if they work for me or not. But I feel like you're gonna get that with something that's kind of out there a little more. And this is that. This is out there for the Alien franchise, kind of expanding on one of its like smaller core ideas. But I'm vibing with it. I think if you're a fan, especially of the original, you're gonna kind of be sucked in from that first episode, and you'll be like, I see what they're doing. They're taking it down a different direction, but it has that same vibe as what Ridley Scott brought in the 1979 movie.
Nice, nice. Well, that movie, I mean, to this day, man, it still amazes me. I went to go, me and Coriander, we went to go see it for its, was it the 45th, right? Yeah, 45th anniversary in the theater.
Nice.
And bro, it still kicks so much ass. I can't lie. I'm a huge fan of James Cameron's sequel. And I've enjoyed quite a few of the other films too, including Romulus, like you mentioned. But it's so cool to see it have this new life, after kind of being in a rut for a long time, even with things like Prometheus, which made a lot of money, but it was very divisive for the fans. And so it's been in a rut for a long time, but I'm glad that it's getting some good buzz and getting some success and so forth. I mean, who would have thought, and not only from the diehards like us, the OGs, but from new people, new fans. So it's awesome to see.
Oh, 100%. I'm glad it's back. It's a franchise that is proving that there's still so much story left to tell in that gigantic universe. I mean, but I've loved everything Alien and Predator lately. I mean, nothing has disappointed in both of those franchises. And like, they're just such good ideas, and and kind of sharing a universe like that too, I think adds to it a little bit. I think Badlands is going to be a secret Alien versus Predator film. We just don't know it yet.
Yeah.
I'm so excited to get into that one, man. Oh my God.
Yes, man. I'm really excited about it. And like you said, to see this resurgence, there's that part of me that's almost like, well, yeah, I mean, these are stories that are based, with mythologies that can be so complex. I mean, you look at the Predator mythology and just the different types of predator and all these different types of things, different planets you can be on, and all this, different things that it can match itself against, test itself against. I mean, it's kind of endless. But just like with Alien, the success that both of these franchises had in the beginning was so tied to Sigourney and Arnold and those prototypical type of characters. And now that they've kind of widened that lane a bit, both franchises, I think they're finally doing it as far as like, yeah, let's keep moving. This is a great concept. Let's do new stories within this universe. So it's exciting to see, man. The only thing, and let me ask you this, I know I'm taking a left turn here, but stick with me for a second, because me and my brother were just talking about this the other week. So that's two franchises, 80s franchises. The third one, to me and my brother, we were talking about, was Terminator.
Yeah.
Do you think there's any hope for Terminator to have a resurgence and actually be good again?
Yes, because there's still one more Terminator movie that needs to be made. in my humble opinion.
Oh, okay.
Hear me out. Okay, I have a very hot take about Terminator. This is okay. Let me start off with this. This is not a hot take. 1 and 2 are the only good ones. Like, that's it. Come on now. Dog, 3 onwards, you can throw them in the trash. Like 3 and Salvation they're okay, whatever.
Yeah.
But like Genesis and Dark Fate, man.
Genesis was bad, but I'm gonna tell you what, man. Okay, and my brother would probably throw a sock at me at this point. But Salvation, there was something about it. Like I could kind of see the what they were trying to do. Okay. Now, for a movie to be good to me, let's say I got to give it whatever, 7 out of 10 or whatever. With Salvation, I wanted to give it like a 6, but it was probably like a 5 out of 10. But I could see the possible 7. They were trying to give us the future. And some of it was cool. Some of it was kind of like, okay, guys, some stylistic choices weren't great. It's like, bro, this looks, and not that it should look exactly like what Cameron showed us in the original, but I was like, this is a much different looking future than I was imagining for the Terminator. But that being said, I didn't hate it. 3, I kind of go back and forth with it. There were some things that were cool, some things that were kind of like, I think they leaned too much into the humor, whatever. Genesis, throw that away, bro. I couldn't believe, dude. God, Genesis and Dark Fate, they wanted to fuck around with John Connor a lot. Okay.
Yeah.
In
Yes.
Genesis, you make him a villain, an actual Terminator. And then in Dark Fate, you're like, you know what? We don't need this guy. Get him out of here. What are we doing?
Insanity. Like an insane way to open a Terminator. Dude, I wanted to walk out of the theater. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, fuck you. What? That's all I could think to myself. But you literally said it, dog. Like, this is the movie that they need to make is a better version of Salvation at this point.
Yes.
Like 1 is kind of this just great little sci-fi thriller about, these awful things that could happen in the future. You're a target of someone who doesn't even exist yet. You know what I mean? Just for something you haven't even done. That's terrifying. That's a great idea. And then 2 steps that up and makes it an even crazier concept. The problem is that every single sequel except Salvation has tried to just basically do a remake of Terminator 2, but worse.
Yes.
They need to make a Terminator Salvation that doesn't suck, where Christian Bale isn't screaming at people on set. and then we'll be rock. That's it. That's all we need from Terminator. One more movie and I'm golden.
Look, that part where Christian was getting so pissed off because the guy said something kind of like he was talking back. And he's like, I'm going to kick your fucking ass. And he's like, wow, that man is pissed off, man. But you're absolutely right. They tried to capture that lightning in the bottle of T2 multiple times. And at least Salvation did something different. And I remember thinking that when I was watching it. And I was like, well, at least they tried to give us the future. They were tied to Arnold so badly. And, big picture, I get it. The first film is an absolute classic. The second film broke records and literally took over everything. I remember, when T2 came out, seeing lines out of the theater and stuff. It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But they do need to make a better version of Salvation. They really do. And I think that that's where they should go. The scary part, and it kind of brings me back to the beginning of my question. The scary part is James Cameron himself said, he's still trying to figure out what the story should be, because now we've caught up to the future, like real world today. So in other words, what he's saying is, or at least this is what I'm getting, you tell me what you think, he can't think that much further beyond what we already have in our real world, like he did back in 84. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad to think in a way, it's like, oh man, that's sad.
It's sad, but it is. I think he also does have a point, because I remember reporting on that and thinking to myself, well, if what is there to talk about? I mean, AI is a real scary thing right now, and we are, constantly building it and turning it into something bigger and bigger every single day. Where do you take that? How do you do something that isn't too tongue in cheek nowadays? You know what I mean? Because I think back then in the '80s, it was like, sure, it was a concept we could spit around and talk about, but it was distant. It was a distant future horror, and that was kind of what made the Terminator so great. Yeah. I honestly think the apocalypse thing could work though now, because that would be the next step, which is so scary and terrifying though. But I think the only way you could make a Terminator film now is to do something like what we're talking about. We've tried and failed like literally 3 times now, trying to do the, future stuff is still happening. No, dude, we've done it perfectly already. Terminator 1 and 2, just you're not going to get better than that. And I just feel like movies trying to replicate that success, it's when franchises get in that loop of just doing the same thing and they can't think of anything else to do, that's when that's where they go to die. You have to push forward and try to do something else out, or you're just going to get Terminator Genesis and Terminator Dark Fate, where the only way we can continue the story is to kill one of the most iconic characters in the first 10 minutes. What? No way. Sorry, no one's gonna get on board with that. Come on.
I'll never forget when I first saw that in the theater. It was almost like my jaw separated from my face, and I remember someone in the theater, this guy, all I heard him say, "What the fuck?" And it was just it was like a hush over the crowd. It was like, what are we doing? I mean, and the worst part about it, and not to get deep into it, but the worst part about it was they got rid of Connor, and then they kind of replaced him with this new character. And I had no problem with this new character in a vacuum, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, well, bro, why didn't we do something more interesting with John? You know what I'm saying? Or like you said, let's just redo Salvation. But it was a lot of missteps. There were some fun things in it. There was some cool action moments, but it was a misstep for sure.
The one thing I will give it is that it was I forgot her name, the actress's name. It was great to see her again. Sarah Connor. It was
Linda Hamilton. Yeah,
Linda Hamilton. I couldn't think of her name. It was great to see her again. I think she was a big standout in that movie for sure. That was fun. But I just it's my same complaint about Scream. It's like, you're gonna bring these characters back and not give them a good story. You know what I mean? Like, I need more than just the character showing up on screen.
I agree with that. And they tried to have this arc with Sarah where she's hunting Terminators. She lost John, so now she's like total Batman for Terminators type of thing. And I was like, okay, I could see the progression to this. And of course the hatred she had towards Arnold. And I will give it a little bit of credit. Maybe it's just me, too much of a fanboy inside of me. But when they had their last stand in the third act, and there were scenes where Arnold, was saving her or helping her, and she would just give him that look and still kind of like, fuck you, man, type of thing. And eventually coming around on him, kind of like, not so obviously because forgiving him. Obviously he's a robot, but I'm just saying there were some cool moments in that, but still they're just spinning their wheels. And like you said, we got to get back to something like Salvation or beyond. And we got to have new characters. We got to have characters that we care about, that we give a shit about, that have good chemistry and stuff like we saw in the original and in T2. That's what we need.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And guys, we did lie to you. This is actually not a Strangers Chapter 2 stream. We're just talking about Terminator now. So get wrecked. You've all been fooled. No, I kid, of course. I could legit talk about Terminator like all night, because it's one of those franchises that I want to see get back on the right track. I really do love those first two movies. Someone said that I'm a Terminator hater. I swear I'm not. The first two movies are like some of the best sci-fi ever. Like, I mean, literally ever. And that's what, when you come out the gate swinging like that with two of the best movies ever, you would think the sequels would be a little better. And some of the other sequels, they're rough, man. I mean, it bums me out that that's not like a phenomenal franchise like so many others out there. I could go on and on, but Strangers Chapter 2, I want to ask you this, Knight. Before we get into Chapter 1, Chapter 2 discourse, because that's what this is going to be, how do you feel about the first two flicks, like 1 and Pray at Night?
Oh man, hell yeah. I mean, the first movie, to me, is one of the best home invasion movies that I've watched. I'm not saying it's the best that's ever been created, guys, in the chat. I'm just saying that I've watched. It's so well done. The tension, the simplicity, it really taps into something that's primal. And for me personally, that actually is a fear, as far as a home invasion scenario. So I think the first one is fantastic. And Pray at Night was a lot of fun. And it kind of did some different things, which I thought was smart. We were just talking about in this other franchise, you got to move forward. And I think Pray at Night moved the needle enough to kind of have its own flavor. It definitely had its own style. That scene in the pool, with the music pumping, it was like, what? I was like, I'm here for this. So I really love both of them. And I think a lot of people, and I've said this on my channel too, if you haven't seen Pray at Night, if you were on the fence about it, I definitely say check it out, because I think there were a lot of fun things in it, and it did push the mythology forward in a way that didn't feel cheap. We didn't find out everybody's uncle and cousin's name, but yet we did something different a little bit, and quite a bit differently in some ways than we did in the first film. So kudos to both films.
I'm so with you. I love both of them. And to me, Pray at Night is exactly how you do a sequel to the original. Because I don't again, just talking about, if this is keeping something relevant from the Terminator conversation to this, you don't want to do the same thing with every single sequel. I don't want to see a million movies that are exactly like the original Strangers. I do love that film, and it is still probably my favorite from the entire franchise, but I loved Pray at Night for kind of being a little more like fun and like 80s and upbeat. It was different. Yeah. And to me, the one very important thing about the Strangers, the one thing I need to stay consistent across every movie that's in this franchise, which unfortunately is, I don't think it's going to be a thing too much longer, is just keeping the mystique alive. You know what I mean? That's what Pray at Night does really well. They are still mysterious characters, even though they're placed in a situation that is tonally a little different than the first. And I'm totally fine. Like, I can vibe with that. It's fun, but it still keeps the mystery and mystique alive. That's all I need. You can throw the Strangers in literally any situation. It can even get goofier if you want. Just don't explain who they are.
Right. Right. Well, yeah, I mean, it always goes back to, it's one of my biggest rules. Those are the rules. Yeah. When you start to explain a mythology and break it down with, this happened, this is why it happened, this is who did it and why they did it and so forth, you start to really, to me anyways, you start to break that whole mystery. You start to break the strength of what drew you to those characters. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, and obviously franchises usually do this, they kind of go back in the past. This happened. This is why we got this. You can do that to a certain extent without giving away the whole kit and caboodle. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to know. And well, I don't want to jump ahead, but it looks like we're going to be finding out some fun things. We might even get a few social security numbers too.
Yeah, man. Trust me, we're gonna break all that down in a minute. I do want to say one more thing about Pray at Night that I love so much is that, they kill the Strangers at the end. And I remember walking out of the theater for that movie, and I said to myself, if they made a third one where the Strangers just came back, I wouldn't even bat an eye. And I think they could have done that, and it wouldn't have, disrupted a timeline. It wouldn't disrupted their mythos. It's just, these are characters that are going to pop up places and they're going to kill.
Yeah.
I don't need any sort of explanation as to who they are because, dude, they're not Michael Myers. They're not Ghostface. I mean, they're literally like hillbillies who get into a rusty truck and just drive off somewhere and decide, okay, this is the spot we're going to kill here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's all these characters are.
Right.
They're nothing super, striking visually or anything like that. They're supposed to be grounded, real life. Like, what if people just decided up one day, hey, I'm gonna start killing people?
Right,
like, what would that look like? It's the strangers, and that's what's scary about it. It's not to me that they're, again, Michael Myers, boogeyman. Oh, how do you survive? 6 gunshots to the chest. No, that's not who these characters are. They're just people with Spirit Halloween masks running around killing people. Apply them to a new situation. That is all you need to do for a sequel. And I don't know if these new ones are doing that for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on 100%. And again, like at the end of that first movie, and credit has to be given to the actors too, because when Liv was like, "Why are you doing this?" and because you were home, and it's like, dude, that's still like, I just saw the original Strangers. I don't know, maybe it was 4 or 5 months ago, just for the fun of it. Notice I said fun, but and when that line was spoken, it still gives me a little bit of a chill. Yeah, because it's kind of like, bro, this is real life. This type of stuff does happen, with home invasion scenarios. So that's the magic. And like you said, man, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what comes about with these new movies.
Well, we have a lot to break down based off of some of the early reviews for Strangers Chapter 2. I have a few questions that I want to discuss. I'm making up words.
That's what we do here. We make up words.
Words come to die in the kill zone. But I do want to say hi to a few more people saying, Michael saying, Jake Knight, the fuck is up? What's up, brother? How's it going, man? Welcome in. Appreciate you. Samantha saying, hey, Knight and Jake, have you seen the movie Wolves at the Door?
No, I think Samantha was mentioning that before. I have not gotten a chance to see that yet.
Samantha really likes werewolf movies. We've talked quite a bit about different werewolf flicks. I love that, though. Samantha, let me ask you something. Have you seen Silver Bullet? Because I love Silver Bullet.
Ooh, nice one. That's a great one.
That's an I don't feel like that's ever in the conversation for great werewolf movies, and it's unfortunate.
Well, I feel as though the reason for this, and I actually had done a deep dive on Silver Bullet a little whiles back. I feel like because you have you have Corey Haim leading it, and obviously the relationship that he has with his sister is so front and center that I think it kind of makes some folks, and I'm talking adults and us old school folks, kind of forget about it. Like, that was cool when I was 10, but now that I'm in my 20s or 30s or whatever, it's not cool anymore. But watching it, it's a cool little movie. It's a really good movie, and it's because of the relationships. They really build up those characters, and you really get invested in Corey's character because he's trying to go up against this beast that is terrorizing this town, and he's a handicapped kid, but he's got the guts of like 8 men. And when I watch it, that's the vibes I'm getting. That's the energy I'm getting. And his sister, in the beginning of the movie, they're bickering and they're siblings and stuff. But that they love each other and they're always going to be there for each other. It's a beautiful movie. I really dig it. And I think you're right. It's very underrated.
That is a really good point, though, because people might write it off because they're like, oh, it's more of a kid's story, whatever. But like, no, dude, it's genuinely excellent. It has some really great, relatable characters. And dude, the werewolf action is insane in that movie. Yes! I mean, like the first 10 minutes of that, you're going to get some blood and gore. Like, it's shocking. Mm-hmm. It's actually kind of shocking how crazy it gets right from the start. So I love it. I don't know. It's honestly, it's one of the, I wouldn't say it's one of the better Stephen King adaptations, but it's up there for me, man. Like I like it quite a bit. Mm-hmm. But guys, what I will say is that we are very worried about Strangers Chapter 2. Some of us watching the stream right now are literally going to see it. If we meet our super chat goal tonight, the movie will actually be good. Fun fact. This is a fact, not me joking around. This is a real thing. The movie will transform into a good film that everyone across the universe will enjoy. So if we can If we can get 10 super chats, that'll make it happen. Knight, I'm so sorry I cut you off.
No. I'm going with you, man. Let's will it into existence. I want to enjoy this one. Okay.
And that's the truth of it. You know, that is very true though. I want to enjoy this movie. I'm going in with low expectations, but I want this to be good. I'm such a big fan of those first two Strangers. Yep. I was woefully disappointed with Strangers Chapter 1. Now we're hearing that Chapter 2 is feeling like the middle part of a long movie. Does that instill any sort of confidence in you?
You know, I'm very much where you're at. It doesn't instill confidence in me, but you know me, I try to be an optimist. There's that other part of me that says, well, maybe it's going to give us enough of a punch and we're going to enjoy it enough and it will lead us into Chapter 3. And I know, and our good friend Tyler, wherever he may be, I'm going to just say it. Halloween Kills. Halloween Kills was that middle movie. You know, it felt like that, but it worked. And I really enjoyed it. Now, granted, it didn't lead us into a great place with ends. Admittedly so. But it was a really fun film. And in my opinion, one of my favorites of the entire franchise. So I'm not saying Chapter 2 is going to be at that level or that enjoyable for me, but that's that part of me that has some hope. But I don't have a lot of confidence. It's not instilling a lot of confidence in me whatsoever.
Yeah, I may have worded it that way for a reason. Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat. I don't know. There's some things I'm hearing that sound cool, but at the same time could also result in a boring film. Unfortunately, like I'm hearing it's a 90-minute chase scene, which sounds like interesting, intriguing to me, but also, is this going to get boring at a certain point? You know what I mean? Is that all it is? Is there no, real plot to it? Is it just the strangers are trying to catch up to Madeline Pesh? I don't know if that's going to work for me. I want some kind of, I think when you're doing a trilogy, you have to have each movie be its own contained story that is, cause and effect from where we came from the previous one, right? I think 28 years later, for instance, is setting itself up really nice to do something similar to that, like with each entry. And you can already kind of see how they're going to lay out each film just based on the way the first one is structured. I need the strangers to be doing something like that if they're going to tell a more grandiose story.
Yeah, I agree. And see, that's the whole thing. If the bottom line, and I'm not trying to jump too far ahead to Chapter 3, but if the bottom line is that we get the whole thing shown to us as far as who they are, why they're doing it, how they did it, how they started doing it, and all that, if that's the end result, for me, and I'm just saying for me personally, that's not exciting for me because it's never going to be enough in my mind, and I'm the type of, I'm the type of horror movie fan and viewer that I try not to like have these huge expectations ahead of time. I just want to take it as it is and then kind of say, okay, let me think about that and then decide, did it work? Did it not work for me? But I really think if that's where they're going, man, it's going to be muddy waters for sure. And it's too bad because I think, again, like you said earlier, they could do a lot with this concept. You literally could have anybody doing this and you could put them in so many different types of situations and scenarios as they did in Prey at Night to a small degree. Well, actually to a fairly good degree, I would say. But you're stunting that possibility if all we're going to do is have the whole game plan laid out for us, and we find that all these people in that town are all connected, and we're gonna do it. I don't give a shit about that. It doesn't do anything for me, So I don't know.
I think to me the fundamental problem is that they're looking at the strangers like they're these. I already said that like they're these big, gigantic, iconic characters, but like they're not, and that's kind of the point. You know what I mean? Like I don't think Brian Bertino was approaching that original film thinking like I'm making the next Michael Myers. No, not at all. No, this is supposed to be real life. What it would look like if people decided to play slasher villain with with other innocent people, which is so fucked up, man. And I just. that fundamental misunderstanding is what isn't working about this. Mr. L's even saying it. Trying to explain The Strangers is the greatest mistake a filmmaker could make with this franchise, and I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. I mean, The Strangers, if anything, they're almost like the anti-Michael Myers. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? It's like, it's just, boom, they got a mask, they pick a house, they're going in, they're going to kill you. That's it. There's nothing about, like with Michael, we have the backstory. We have what he did to his sister, and then going into the institution. We had Loomis, and then this whole thing, this fixation with Laurie, and then they made choices. Though it's his sister, and blah 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 blah. This was so lean and mean, that first movie, and even the second film. And it's like, but that was the magic of it. If you're trying to do a movie where you've got all this grandiose idea of why it happened, and let's have this big story and this big mythology, you would have started it totally different than they did with this franchise. In my opinion, that would have been the better bet. So yeah, I think we're heading into a direct. And again, I haven't seen obviously 2, and we haven't seen what they're going to do with 3 either. But I'm just saying, based upon what we've seen time and time and time again with horror villains and franchises, when you start to explain stuff and you go way too into these backstories, it just makes the character so uninteresting and definitely not scary. I mean, look at Freddy. Look what they did with Freddy. It's like some worms were demons from a dimension, and they chose him because he was Freddy Krueger, and he killed some kids or whatever. It's like, dude, compare that to 84 Elm Street. That scene where he's making the knives in the beginning, you got that music playing, and you got Robert with that that breathing, that nasty, evil, grimy vibe. That's scary.
Well, and dude, in an elemental sense, horror is not knowing. Yes. You know what I mean? Horror is not knowing what's in that dark part of your room. Like that to me is that is such a fundamental way to look at it. But like, it really does apply to everything when it comes to trying to scare an audience. You know what I mean? Like if you're setting up a jump scare, for instance, and the camera is looking the same way the thing is going to pop out in your face, it's not going to hit. But if, the camera's going this way and something is on the right side of the screen or whatever and comes in, you're not looking that way. The camera's training you to go with it. Yeah. But it's the same thing with mythology. It's the same thing with Mystique, and The Strangers, I feel, just isn't really hitting on that. But I do want to ask, this is the middle chapter, like you said. In chapter 1, we're going to trash on it a lot, but what's something positive you have about this film? You got to dig deep for this one.
Well, I will say I did enjoy Madeline in the role. I thought she was pretty good. Sometimes in horror movies, there are times when the lead characters just don't hit, and it can even be true for an actor or actress that you like. Sometimes it just doesn't work, or it doesn't work as well as you want it to work. But I will say, right from the beginning all the way through to them dealing with the strangers and so forth, I really liked Madeline's character. So, when it was over and I was frustrated, I was saying to myself, well, maybe the second one will kind of get us into a nice groove with this character, so I did like Madeline. I thought some of the visuals were good. Some of the cinematography was good. There were a couple of moments where they could have done some really interesting things, but they kind of fell right into the same lane of the original film. Plus Pray at Night, this film, and I was talking about it myself when I reviewed it, this film has elements of both of those first 2 films. And it's like, well, dude, why not have, I get it, you're retelling the story of the strangers, but you could do some different things. You could incorporate some new ideas and fresh takes. And that's what really surprised the hell out of me, because this wasn't a movie that was 30 years ago, the original. This was just, a dozen years ago or so, something like that. So it's like, bro, all of us have seen it. You're not doing anything different. So I'm kind of ranting because there's not much more for me to say that I like. But I did like Madeline. There were a couple of moments that I thought were pretty good. The scene at the shower, I thought was kind of creepy. I like visual. See, that's the thing too. even though the strangers are very basic, like you said, the mask, they're nothing to speak of or anything like that. But at least for me as a fan, I've come to look at those masks and associate it with the strangers. You know, they become a character in my mind, as well as so many others. So the way that scene was shot at the shower with Madeline, and the man in the mask, man in the bag mask, I was like, wow, that was pretty effective. I liked that scene, the way it looked. So there were a couple of moments like that as well.
Yeah, no, there's a few moments that here and there, but I totally agree. I think Madeline Pesh is my favorite part. I think she's a great final girl. Again, I would love to see her working with some better material sometime in the future. I think that would be great.
Yes.
She really is a good actress, and I'm excited to see what she does here. I'm hearing from people who disliked this movie that she is kind of a standout. You know, still does some cool stuff here. But that's another thing I'm hearing about Strangers Chapter 2 is that while it starts off very strong in the slasher category or arena, I should say, I guess the strangers aren't even in like the middle hour of the movie, so I'm questioning what's even happening there.
Oh no. Oh,
What, there's allegedly a boar attack, like a boar and Madeline Pesh, she fights a boar, okay? This is a slasher movie night.
Look,
Come
man.
on.
Look, man, you got to find a way, somehow, some way to bring some excitement into this thing. Let's bring in a boar. I guess that's the answer. Listen, I mean, what I hope, and I, you know, based upon the first movie and things that I've heard, things that you've heard, I'm sure too, and read about it, I'm just hoping that we don't get this huge, long segment of the film where we see the townspeople just kind of fucking around with her and just kind of giving the evil eye. You know, you have those scenes where the camera pans to them and the eye, you know, it's kind of like, oh, they must be bad people. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want that stuff, man. I really don't. But if we do have it in the film, hopefully it's not a ton. I just want to see this chick dealing with the situations that she put in by the strangers. You know, that's all I want to see.
Now, I guess another thing I do want to throw out there, because there is a little more star power in this movie, believe it or not, that you might have forgotten about because he's only in it for like a couple of seconds in the first one. We have Mr. Richard Brake, who is a part of this trilogy. Very famous creature actor, and just in a ton of weird little roles all over the place.
Yep, love
Do
him.
you? I mean, is it pretty obvious that he's like our man in the mask?
You know, I've pondered this a lot, and I'm just like, don't. I mean, if it turns out to be that he is, it's kind of like, okay, you know, it's almost like when we saw, you know, Dermot, you know, pull off the mask, and it's like, yeah, we knew, you know,
Of course it's me.
Of course it's me, you know, and it's like, but it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of wasted on me, you know. I don't know. I think there's a chance. I hope not, though. Do you think he is?
I feel like why else have him involved?
Yeah.
It's not like these movies are doing anything that clever.
Right.
Which I like, that's such a dig, isn't it? But like, they're not doing anything super, you know, like, oh wow, they're gonna pull the wool over my eyes with who it is. It's like, it's obviously Richard Brake. I mean, come on, man. He's been the bad guy in like everything. And
Mr. Barbarian himself.
Yeah, Mr. Barbarian, yes. Dude, honestly, one of my favorite roles from him is in Rob Zombie's 31.
Oh yes, yeah. He's fantastic, bro. I really love him. I really do. Anytime I see him in a film, I'm like, okay, what is he gonna do? You know, because he's just that type of character, you know.
He has this crazy monologue that starts off 31. If you have, I don't know if you've seen it or not, but dude, that monologue, that is one of the scariest things I think I've ever seen a human being do on film. Yeah. Like, ugh, man, if you haven't seen that and you want to have a bad time, put on 31. But this is a pretty good question from Paula. Paula, thank you for being a member, by the way. What is your one want from Strangers Chapter 2?
Ooh. Okay, well, this is so cliche. I mean, I want it to be great, you know, but obviously that's way too broad. But let me just say this. I want it to, okay, well, this is like a run-on sentence, but I'm cheating, so whatever. I want it to push the story further into areas that I don't expect, and I want this to be a kick-ass movie where Madeline is like doing some awesome final girl shit. That's what I want.
I want it to win me over. I'm with you on that. And I think if they just the simplicity of just do something badass, do something cool, do something to just again just win me over.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be a little more sold on it. Because like where I'm at with chapter 1 is that it is truly bottom of the barrel, maybe one of my least favorite franchise continuations to something I really like that I've ever seen. If they can do something, and I'll listen, I'm going into this with an open mind, I really am. Knight, I'm not somebody who I want to shit on a movie. I do not want to come out of the theater being like, that sucked. I mean, I'm taking time out of my day to go and see this thing and hopefully enjoy it. It's not like I got to review. No, I'm hoping to vibe with this film. I'm on its side for now until it proves otherwise to me. If this thing rocks, if you can win me over with even one thing, it'll be better than the 0 out of 10 that is the first one.
That's so true. I mean, look, at the end of the day, when I finish this movie, if I have and I'm not saying it's going to be as good as these other films I'm going to mention, I wish it would be, who knows, but like when I finished Ready or Not, I was like, kick-ass movie story. Samara was amazing. When I finished You're Next, I was just like, wow. I mean, A to Z, everything was great. What's her name? Sharni Vincent as the final girl. Fantastic. That was great. I would love to have even 70% of that vibe for this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think they've got all the elements that could make it a fun time, a decent movie. And like you said, Madeline is really good in this role as far as what she could be. You know what I'm saying? They just didn't give her enough to showcase it in the first movie, but maybe they will in the second film. But that's what I want, man. I want to love this film.
I do too. And honestly, just talking about getting into more specifics, like things that they can do to to kind of like one up the first one. I just remember I haven't seen chapter 1 in a while. I watched it one time in the theaters and like that was kind of that was it for me. But I remember the kills being really underwhelming. I mean, that is such an easy thing that they can step up here in chapter 2. Yep. Like, and again, I'm not expecting them to respect the mystique of these characters and with them announcing that, hey, we're gonna explain who these people are. Pretty much everything I like about The Strangers is out the window for me. What can we deliver in terms of a good slasher movie that this movie can maybe impress me with? That's where I'm at mentally. So can they give us some bloody fun kills, that are over the top and crazy? Because dude, I'll tell you what, I we disagree about In a Violent Nature, but you got to admit that one kill's pretty fucking cool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, every time, dude, and I've watched it, a couple times, obviously, and talked about it. And every time that scene comes up, I'm just like, oh boy, And so that's awesome because that shows that it connected with me, just like it did with pretty much anyone that saw the film. So, but you're right. It's like, bro, if we can't get the kills to be nice, what are we doing at this point in horror? With all of the, examples of great kills and movies that delivered on that aspect. It's like, if we can't do that for chapter 2, what the hell are we doing? And Rennie Harlan, another thing that was so disappointing for me for chapter 1 is I like Rennie Harlan, and I was just like, damn, man, you messed up on this one, and he's got great style. You look at his films and even his old school films back in the day. I mean, Nightmare 4. I mean, it was Nightmare 4, Dream Master. I mean, he has a great style and a great eye. So it's like, bro, I hope that you can give us some really good kills, some good tension. You're calling this a big chase scene. Well, if you can give us a great chase scene or that vibe or what have you, something that stands out, like the chase scene in Scream 2 with Gale, or the chase scene in I Know What You Did Last Summer, or, and so many other examples. If you can do that, then, hey, good on you. You at least got that part right. And they should be able to be honest.
Dude, and that's such a good point too, because sometimes a slasher doesn't even need like a good kill. Does it have a good sequence? You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
a movie that I still bring up, even though I think you know that I hate this movie with like my whole soul. Like just I hate this. It burns when I think of this movie. Even saying it coming out of my mouth right now, my whole body's just like crunching up. It's bad. Like I'm gonna break my pinky toes are gonna flip up with the moment I say it. Sick from 2023. This is a movie that I bring it up because it does do something that is like absolutely excellent. It has a phenomenal chase scene in it, like a 10
Yes.
out of 10 chase sequence.
You're
Dude,
right.
when she's on the raft and like
Yes.
the waves are kind of going and the knife is popping up through the boards and she's trying to dodge it. That is, I mean, you're soaked in tension.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that impressed. I was so checked out at this point because I hated the characters. I mean, I'm like, please God, let this final girl die. She is horrible, but goddamn, they kind of reeled me back in for a second with that sequence. So
Yeah.
can chapter 2 do something to impress me? Because listen, Sick came out over 2 years ago and I'm still talking about it, even though my soul is on fire talking about it right now.
So there'll be no watch party of Sick just to get your commentary then, right?
You'd have to pay me.
Oh man. Now you know what? Now you're making me want to watch it again because it's been a little while since I've seen it. And when I saw it, we talked about it on my channel for Slasher Movie Club, and I can't remember what rating we gave it, but I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. Now, granted, who knows, man? Maybe I was like I had too much caffeine or something in my system. I don't know. Maybe I ate steak earlier that day. Who knows? But hearing you totally crap fast on it, it's almost like, man, I gotta check this again, man. Because my street cred is about to get taken. You know, I gotta check it out again just to see and get a sense of your perspective on it.
See, I am such for me, like logic in horror movies, I am so lenient on. Like, man,
Yeah.
I honest to God don't care. If you have a cool idea and it's maybe a little illogical,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't care. A great example, Weapons from earlier this year. There's like, honest to God, if you were to sit down and just be like a real douchebag and break down every little, tiny increment of that movie, there's a
Right.
ton of illogical plot holes to it. But
Yeah.
like, are you going to be that much of an insufferable butthole to really do that? You know what I mean? Like, I
Right.
enjoyed the hell out of that movie. I loved it.
Yeah.
But I have seen a ton of videos of people, poking fun. They're not like, they're clearly fans. You know what I mean? It's nothing where it's like truly malicious. But it's so cool. I don't care. I don't care if something doesn't make sense in that movie because it's so well done for what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
With Sick, however, they don't have the rule of cool. Like there are so many moments of that where it's not cool and I'm not vibing with it and it's illogical. How this is a movie that is set in April of 2020. I'm sorry I'm going on this rant. It's a movie that is set in April of 2020. This is something that just happened. I mean, like, dude, in terms of period pieces, this is one of the most recent period piece movies we have gotten.
Yeah.
And they fuck it up in terms of like shit that happened. Like, I'm like, dog. If this was a movie set in like 1850s, okay, and you got one little thing wrong,
Yeah,
who am I?
yeah.
I didn't live through it. I don't give a shit. Okay, I buy it. You know what? Whatever.
Yeah.
But dog, I lived through that, and we didn't have no fucking COVID tests in April of 2020.
Yeah.
Fuck you,
Yeah,
movie.
true.
That's
It's true. It's true. You're right.
Sorry. I know I sound like such a I'm a film savant or something. I really don't. 99% of the time, I don't care about this stuff. But that movie, like the whole thing, relied on that. Like the fact that they could have COVID tests in April of 20.
Right.
Like, sorry, I'll shut up about it. Hit me with your. I need some positivity because I'm just spewing negativity right now.
Well,
This isn't good.
Well, okay, but and I get it because there's things like that that can just sometimes just make you say, "What? Why did you guys do something that stupid?" So I get it, and sometimes that can stick with you through the whole movie, and it totally just shatters everything about it. So it's totally cool. I get it, but for me, and I'm telling you now you really got me thinking. I got to check it out again because, like I said, I haven't seen it in a long time, and I'm just like, Did you like the opening though? You remember the opening?
Yes,
The opening kill?
Dude, honest to God, I was like first 10 minutes I was really vibing with it. That was
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
Felt it almost felt like low budget Scream and I
Yep.
liked that. I kind of liked
It.
that
Yep.
vibe.
It did, and I was thinking to myself, oh, this could definitely be something really cool. Now, granted, I didn't hate the film, but I do agree. After that, it was kind of like, okay, wait a minute, we're going. Why are we heading down this way? You know what I mean? Chase scene was great. There was a great kill in that third act, and the face off had some moments or whatever, but yeah, I got to check it out again. But that opening kill I did like and felt Scream like.
I will also say another thing that like another reason why I just couldn't get on board with it. Because again, like I said, dude, if there's one little illogical thing, I don't, whatever, I can still vibe with it.
Yeah.
I just did not like the final girl. I did not like this character. I don't know. They never gave me a reason to root for her, and the whole movie again relied on that for you to root for this character.
True.
And she's a person who. Maybe it's because I was working at Chipotle during the pandemic and had to deal with people like this. She's a person who, and I'm not trying to make this into a political thing, who refused to wear a mask.
Yeah,
and like,
yeah.
listen, I worked at Chipotle during the pandemic when we were forced to wear masks. And whether that was a big thing for you or not, it felt like such a simple ask, and we would have customers come in and not wear one, and I would be like, I'm really sorry, but I will get fired from my job if I serve you for not wearing a mask. It's one of those things. And like there were people who would like scream, yell, bitch, and get so mad just because I was asking them to put a face covering on. And like I'm at the point now, because I had to deal with that for so long working at Chipotle. I can't root for a character who is like when I see that character from Sick, I just see like the dude who would come into Chipotle every day asking for a burrito and just wouldn't put on a mask. And I'm like, dude, I'm begging you right now, please just put one on so I can give you your fucking bowl. Right. Rant over. I'm so sorry.
No, it's perfectly fine. But one thing I would say to that, and I totally get it. Like I get why you have that. I'm just wondering if the character, well, obviously if the character was a little bit different, you'd have a different vibe. But if you didn't have that experience in real life, would that have changed your overall view on the film?
Totally. Film is subjective, man. That's listen, I have my take on it, but that doesn't, disqualify someone else love it. I understand why people love it. Oh man. Like listen, I have my rant because of my personal experience, but that's I think that's kind of what film is in a sort of way. You know what I mean? They're going to show you something and that's going to make you feel something based on your own experience.
Very true.
I just saw Fort Misery Gaming. This is a great point to that, saying, I don't know, maybe because I grew up with the 90s slashers, a lot of 80s stuff like Friday the 13th is so cringe. I don't know how you can complain about today's characters. And that's a really good point. If you like just everything about 90s slashers is 100%, you love everything about that, I can totally see completely vibing with Sick. And maybe you didn't have an experience like how I have had. And I can totally see why you would get behind a movie like that. But I just It was the 1-2 punch of like fucking up a period piece for something that like literally just happened, and then me not being able to get on board with the main character, who is like the centerpiece of that film. You know what I mean? You're following her the majority of the time. You want to talk about a movie that's a chase scene the entire time. I mean, that movie is literally, she's getting chased the whole damn time. So I could go rant, but I do love the subjectivity of film, and I love talking with people about why they might not have liked something, because I know I'm in a very unique case with this film. I know that the majority of Scream fans especially really liked that one.
Yeah, that's true. I've found that a lot of folks that were digging this film obviously were Scream fans in general, and I think there's some parallels there for sure. But I agree, this isn't a final girl that you're going to latch on to like Sydney or even Sam. You know what I'm saying? So that is very very evident to me as well. But yeah, I mean, film can hit you in different ways, just like Fort Misery is saying, you grew up in a certain time and you look at older stuff and it's like, it's kind of cringy. And I mean, I loved Friday the 13th, and growing up, that's been a huge franchise for me, a favorite franchise for me. And when I used to look back at things like, okay, people say the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is amazing, or The Exorcist, or Psycho, or whatever. Fortunately, as a kid, I had other people around me that were also either fans of that stuff or were kind of like with me on that journey. And I can see the differences. I appreciate the differences, though. Not everyone's like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can sit down and watch a horror movie from the 70s and enjoy it just as much as one from the 90s, in a different way, of course. You know what I mean? Like, if you compare Scream to Friday the 13th Part 2, it's not even a debate of,
Yeah.
of what's the better movie, or what's the better movie with acting and visuals and camera work and whatever. But depending on what you like, and if you have that variety, you can see the fun in both, and because they're doing different things anyways. So it's interesting hearing that comment. And it's true. You grow up at a certain time, you have a connection to certain movies, and that really it paints the picture for you as a horror fan, as a person who loves movies of different time periods, or maybe not. So it's interesting.
Yeah, everyone's got a different perspective on these things. And honestly, to kind of bring it full circle here, I feel like that's why you do have some fans of these new Strangers flicks. I mean, think about all the, the younger kids who grew up with like Riverdale, for instance, which is where Madeline Pesh is from. You're going to want to be on board with this character, this actress a little more with this. So I understand like rooting for these movies and still really vibing with them, if that's enough for you. If you want to see this character go through the slasher final girl arc, essentially.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, we went through it as well in our own way with different characters. Like when we were just talking about the Conjuring last week. When I first saw the Conjuring and I saw Vera in that role, I was like, oh man, I know that actress. That's so cool. And she's in a haunted house movie that's directed by James Wan. So I was excited about the movie before I even saw it because of Vera. Patrick Wilson too. I was like, bro, he was awesome in this or that, or Watchmen or whatever. And I'm like, I want to see this movie. And so you do have different ways that you connect to films. And sometimes it could be, like you said, just as simple as saying, oh, that's an actor that I know and I want to see what they do in this. And all of a sudden, boom, you're connected to that film. And there's that opportunity or that chance that you're going to enjoy it, more than someone that does not have that connection to the actor.
100%. Yeah. Like, I mean, dude, when I heard that Radio Silence was doing Screams 5 and 6, I was like, let's go. Dude, I was over the moon. I mean, like, I fell in love with found footage because of the VHS franchise, and like, right. I have been following Radio Silence since like the early 2010s. I was so excited about that. I'm like, these are the perfect guys to do this. Like, oh my God, that's amazing. So I was like on board with Scream 5 years before it even came out. It was one of those things. And I think that's why maybe some people weren't as crazy about it too, because it's here's these new kids on the block taking over this gigantic franchise. Like, what? I don't know about that, man. These guys aren't Wes Craven, and they're not. I love Radio Silence, but they're no Wes Craven. They haven't proved that yet by any means. I understand being turned away if that's how you feel about it. I've seen a lot of people say stuff similar to that.
Yeah, but also in the same vein, and of course we've talked tons of Scream together, but I did like that fresh vibe that they brought.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there was a freshness in there, and obviously that's all we could get, because obviously Wes isn't with us anymore. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, even though it wasn't a Wes Craven Scream, and it didn't have that exact Wes Craven flavor, they brought something a little bit different and fresh to it. And I appreciated that. It was, look, as much as we could talk about issues with 5 or 6, there are a lot of fun things in those movies that I really enjoy. And when I saw them both in the theater, just like I'll be seeing 7 and 8, I came out of the theater and I was like, yeah, all right, and it was fun. It's fun.
It's fun. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. I'm hoping we can say the same thing about Strangers Chapter 2 this weekend, but I don't think so. But I will say, before we wrap this whole thing up, my friend, do you have any final predictions on this flick? Do you have any faith at all in Chapter 2, and do you think Chapter 3 is going to be a better film?
Okay, let me also say this, and I don't want to take up too much time, but when I saw the trailer, because I saw they played the trailer in front of The Conjuring when we went to go see The Conjuring with The Long Walk. And and I'd seen the trailer already, but seeing it on the big screen, and I was just like, oh, and you kind of getting into it and the visuals. And I'm like, man, I hope this can be good. It looked like it has some moments. I'm going in with maybe a 6 out of 10 vibe for it. You know what I'm saying? As far as my hope and confidence. When I leave, it'd be great if it stays at 6. If it can hit 7, then it's an absolute home run for me as a fan of this franchise. But right now, I'm not 50-50. I'm just a little bit above 50-50 for my confidence in what I'm going to see. But I think 3, and I know I said this after 1, but I think 3 can be good. It can be good. Hopefully, possibly.
Hey, fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed. I also said the same thing after 1 because we had Rennie Harlan coming out saying like, well, that was the film to reestablish who the strangers are, catch up the modern generation, whatever. But now we're hearing that chapter 2 is somehow worse. So I don't know, man. Maybe this is all just like a one big ruse, and the third film is actually banging. Like it's like this shocking, like, oh man. We didn't front load this at all. We have no planning for 1 and 2, but 3 is gonna be good.
Right.
How shocking would that be though? If
That'd
they
be
like
crazy.
these first 2 just suck and 3 is just like a banger, that would be awesome. I mean, the craziest twist in horror history.
Hell yeah, man. I mean that I don't know if we've ever seen that. You know what I mean? Like
No.
That would be fantastic because I mean usually you kind of go downhill. That's usually how it goes. Or you might get one the first one's okay, and then the second one is really good, and then the third one kind of lets you down. You know what I'm saying? So if this is the type of thing where we're basically walking up the hill and that third one is fantastic, I mean, I guess it'll be worth it in the end, I want it to be good. When you have a franchise that's been around for a little while like this one has, I want it to be good. I don't want it to suck. I don't want it to fail. And even though I wasn't a fan of the first film, I'm still hopeful, because the way I look at it is a win for the strangers is a win for horror. It's a win for slashers. And it helps, people to be more on board and have that faith and to support films in the theater. And that's what we need. Yeah,
100%. I couldn't agree more. Very well said. I think that just when these big releases like this, when they do hit, they not only inspire others, but they also just give the opportunity for more franchises that are currently just sitting in the mud right now to be resurrected.
That's right.
I mean, there's a lot of great slashers that are not getting represented right now. And this is kind of it's almost like the renaissance of the slasher age in a lot of ways. I mean, like the 2000s and the 2010s, there wasn't a whole lot of big slasher releases, honestly. Like there's some remakes, whatnot, whatever. But I mean, in terms of like, getting new icons, getting like really well done franchise continuations, the 2020s has the last 2 decades beat, in my opinion, already.
Easily.
Yeah,
no doubt, easily. I mean, you look at what Terrifier has been able to do. Obviously, Scream, Halloween. I mean, it's been some really, really good examples of how you can continue a franchise the right way, and also how you can start franchises like with Terrifier. I mean, it's like seriously, it's. I'm appreciative of it because slashers are my favorite subgenre of horror. So there's a lot of hope and faith, and I just hope that The Strangers Chapter 2 can not suck. I really do.
I'm keeping my fingers crossed, ladies and gentlemen. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us for a very fun little chat. Make sure to stop on by tomorrow night. We are having a watch party for VHS 85, which I'm really excited to watch that one. Night, we're getting so close to VHS Halloween, and can I tell you a secret?
Yes.
I get to see VHS Halloween early.
Oh.
Shh, don't tell anybody though.
Okay, I won't tell anybody.
Okay, yeah, don't tell. Yeah, no one's listening to this conversation. It's fine. No, but I'm so excited. I got the email today, and I'm just like, fuck yeah. Sorry. But anyways, I do want to say one more thing, one very, very, very important announcement, and Samantha's hitting on it right here. We have a stream this weekend. Guys, if you don't show up for the VHS stream tomorrow, I don't give a shit. Come to this stream on Saturday on Craven Something Scary's channel. This is a very, very, very big stream, and we don't want anyone to miss it. If you've been hanging out with us for the last couple of years, talking Scream, talking Terrifier, whatever, hop on to Craven's channel. This is going to be one of the biggest streams we've ever done.
Yes, I concur, and thank you, Samantha, for writing that in the chat. And this is so important to us. It's very important to me, very important to Jake, Fate Decided as well, and so many others that have had the pleasure of being a part of Steven's journey with his channel, which is absolutely fantastic. So please, guys, I know everyone is in the chat and doing stuff, but Craven Something Scary this Saturday, 7 o'clock Eastern. Please show up, and let's just give a shout out to a guy that he means so much to us and so many others, and he's given so much. So please make sure you guys do that.
Yeah, it would really mean the world to both of us and so many other people in the community. So please just show up. I know, look, it's Saturday. This is our time to have fun and maybe go out and have plans or whatever. But even if you just show up and say hey to Steven, it would really mean the world to us. So please stop on by. I don't mean to beg, but but please stop on by to this stream. It's an important one. So guys, thank you so much. Hopefully we will see you Saturday at 7 o'clock over on Craven Something Scary's page. But until then, hopefully you have a nice night. Make sure to subscribe to the Night Watch Zone too, because he's freaking awesome, and we'll be live on his page next Thursday. So
yeah, well, hopefully some decent news for Strangers Chapter 2, maybe.
we'll pick this conversation up then. Hopefully, talking like, wow, I can't believe how good it was. It was a masterpiece of cinema. Fingers crossed. I don't eat those words, Knight.
Right.
Oh!
I know.
But thank you guys again for joining us. As always, don't forget to kill it out in the kill zone. Ooh. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.